Hey everyone, welcome back to the You're Not Finished podcast. My name is Brittany Franklin, and I am the host of this podcast. Today, I am very excited because I have a special guest. My first guest on the podcast is a very special guest that is near and dear to my heart. But before I get to that, I want to go over a couple of things regarding You're Not Finished. First of all, those of you who are subscribed to the newsletter know that I fully intended on dropping some merch in March. However, I've decided to delay that release until summer, probably June of this year, because I want to ensure that everything is of good quality, that everything logistically and behind the scenes is well put together so that I can bring you guys great product and make sure that it's helpful to everybody involved. So I'm putting in the necessary work, both personally and professionally, in order to make You're Not Finished an excellent brand. So it'll be well worth the wait. I can promise you that. The second thing I want to talk about is not related to You're Not Finished. I know it's kind of weird to promote someone else on your platform, but that is not something that I will ever care about. I'm always going to talk about good things, even if it draws people away from You're Not Finished, as long as it benefits those who listen to it, those who read it, whatever the case may be. So I want to talk about an excellent podcast that is hosted by my friend, my new friend, who I have the honor of serving with at church and being led by. Her name is Alize Robinson, and the name of the podcast is called Sprouting Joy. At the moment, she talks about a lot of different topics and brings them back to Christ or Christian theology. I mean, she also does a Bible study. Right now, she's in the book of Proverbs, and the episodes are bi-weekly, so you get plenty of content by listening to that podcast. So make sure you check out Sprouting Joy, hosted by Alize Robinson, an amazing young woman of God who I have the honor of knowing. Speaking of young people, we are going to get to my wonderful guest today. He is on the show to share his story. He is the creator of Wisdom Creates Power. He's my little cousin, but because our mothers decided to only bring one child into this world, we kind of developed a little sibling relationship too. So he's like my little brother cousin. Call him my bresin sometimes. But ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Desmond Shay.
I appreciate y'all. How y'all doing? Thank you, cousin, for having me.
Of course. How you doing?
I'm good. Can't complain about it. You know, another day, another dollar.
So you saw that I posted something on Instagram, on my You're Not Finished Instagram, and you said, let's do something.
Yes.
And I said, huh? And called you like right away.
Yeah, you did. I didn't expect that, actually. I was pretty shocked.
Why were you shocked?
Because I know how it feels to, like, you know, can't always have people rush onto your platform like that. You know, it takes time to do that because you can't just be promoted like that. You know, it takes more work to do that. So, you know, I was grateful that you called me and that we made this work. So this is about to be real interesting.
It is about to be interesting because we're going off the cuff, unscripted, but I'm excited. I really like to do things like that for You're Not Finished because, as I've said many times on this podcast and probably on the blog as well, You're Not Finished is for people who aren't as polished, who don't always have to have everything kind of neat and clean and together, especially as it pertains to mental health. So I'm excited to hear what you have to say in regards to mental health. I also want to say that it shouldn't have surprised you that I contacted you because I just know that you have an excellent mind. And so like, I'm excited for other people to be able to hear what your thoughts are, especially surrounding anxiety.
Yeah, this is going to be, it's going to be kind of funny to most people because a lot of people are going to be like, kind of switchy with it. They're gonna be like, I never heard this side of the Des before, or Des never told me this side before. So or this never really happened with Des, or there's gonna be a lot of judgment or a lot of commentary. But I'm gonna just say what I have to say, and you can just feel how you feel about it regardless. If you know, you know.
Mm-hmm. So what is it that you have to say? First of all, actually, before we get to that, talk about Wisdom Creates Power and why you created that.
That actually was just off the top of the dome. To be honest, I was just like, I want to motivate people because I seen on how long live the great man, Uncle Nick, on how he carried on his passion with people, how he motivated people, how he pushed people to go harder and to never quit. And I was like, something I wanted to do. And I never even thought about becoming a trainer, mind you. It just fell into it because he just pushed me into it. So I was just like being with the kids and just seeing other people and just giving people advice, because people always come to me with advice. So I always like motivate them on what I experience. I never give them the real on what I see or what I just hear. I always give people the real on what I've experienced. And if they can relate to it, then they'll know what I'm talking about. So
I like that. That's dope. Wisdom Creates Power. Again, you can follow that on Instagram at Wisdom Creates Power.
It talks about everything. It talks about different emotions, different aspects in life that people face, and also what I've experienced. And I would just wanted people to feel what I talk about in that whole wisdom creates power, and to make people, how should I say this? Just make people feel, basically make people feel how I've felt.
You want people to like resonate with what you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I mean, it's the same thing for You're Not Finished. You're Not Finished was created for me out of a place of struggling with depression and anxiety and stuff like that. And me not, especially back in 2012 when it was initially started, me not having that safe place, you know what I'm saying, to be able to struggle, and me wanting to offer that to other people as well as have that for myself.
Yeah.
So I feel you. I think I understand why Wisdom Creates Power was created. And yeah, thank you for creating that, especially for the youth, because y'all definitely need it.
Follow the page if you feel motivated or wish to feel motivated.
Cool beans. So when I called you, you said you wanted to talk about anxiety. What about anxiety did you want to speak about? Did you want to speak about your own experience, or, the floor is yours?
My own experience, shout out to the people who's actually been there in my experience, you know what I'm saying? Because I don't talk about it as much. And, you were one of those people that were there in one of my crises. And so was Uncle Nick, so was Aunt Ty, so was my mother, so was the other people that I still care for, and I thank them for being there with me and everything. With my anxiety, it causes me to twitch, shake, shortness of breath. And it just all reacts to flashbacks of my life, as I grew up, that I don't really talk about to a lot of people. Again, if you know, to the people that know. So yeah, I just want to let people know that you're not alone and that you can actually fight it. It's just a mental thing. And if you wake up every day, then that's a blessing. And that just shows that you are a fighter and that you haven't given up. Because if you don't wake up the next day, that means you've given up on yourself.
I appreciate you sharing that. How long have you been struggling with anxiety?
Yeah, it started off with father issues. Just him not being there, just questioning myself, like, am I the problem? Is it my mom the problem? Like, why are you not here with us? Like, I be seeing kids getting picked up by both of their parents, just a little jealous all the time. But, I've always kept it to myself. I was always a non-open kid. I never opened up to people. I've always kept things to myself. I never just pop out and just tell people what I go through. Nah, I sit there, I cry to myself, and I just keep it pushing the next day. That's how I was taught. That's how I was raised. I mean, I get it from my family. I really, if you really want to think about it, our family really shows no emotion at times. Mm-hmm. We know how to fight through things.
Yeah.
That's why it's like every time people ask, "Are you okay?" we always say, "Yeah, we good." I'm like, come on, you know how we do.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing. It's really it's a mentality thing. Gotta really, if you know that you're gonna do great things, then keep pushing.
And that's true to an extent, right? Because sometimes you can keep pushing and pushing and pushing, but you're pushing down like emotions and experiences that you really actually need to deal with. You know what I'm saying? And like I just talked about this actually on the last episode as it pertains to our family. And, we have a lot of strong people in our family, but we definitely have a lot of strong women in our family, more so than men. But that strength comes at sometimes the expense of our mental and emotional well-being, whether we want to admit that or not.
Sometimes it's a bad thing.
Right.
And sometimes we get carried away with it. Like with some people I know, sometimes I get carried away with how I'm overprotective at times, or how I'm just like always on my 10, just always worrying because like I've seen things before, I've experienced things. I know maybe I overthink at times, but I'm always just curious nowadays because like people crazy. And it just, when I've experienced in my life, which caused my anxiety to like trip over things, it gets bad. But it's been better. It's been better. It's been a year of practice on working on myself, so I've been doing better, really.
That's good. Of course, as family, that's really good to hear, just on a personal level. How have you been addressing your anxiety? Like, what does better mean to you? I know that's like two different questions, but like, first, how have you been taking care of your mental health? How do you address your anxiety?
The same thing I do every day. I work out. I do the things I love. Like, that's what I want to explain to people that have, that go through things, that saying that there's nothing for me to do. Like, I'm just nothing. Like, no. Like, if you like do the things that you love, helps you get over your mental anxiety. Like, you're back at your peace. Like with me, I love to draw. I love to watch movies. I love to drive around and just look at houses. I love to just watch Animal Planet. I love animals. Like, you already know. Like, I love going to the ranches and seeing horses. Like, that's the stuff I do. I love going into the movie theaters just to, again, watch movies. I love to go to the park and read. Like, I stay to myself with all these things that keeps me going. Then I know that I can keep pushing. And then I know that I can keep telling the kids or the people my age or men older than me that struggle with this too, that there's more to it than what you think.
Right.
So
there's more to life than being anxious
right
all the time.
Yeah. All you got to do is just find your happiness. That's really all it is. It's going to be hard, yes. It's going to be real hard, but it's just baby steps. That's all you need to do. And most people think baby steps is not enough, but it is. Mm-hmm. Little by little is actually growth. So.
Absolutely. So just to piggyback off of that, you said there's more to life again than your anxiety.
Right. Life is not all bad if you really think about it. You just got to really find certain things that can make you happy. Like, life hurts, yes. Life has its ups and downs, but it has its ups. Again, pay attention, it has its ups and downs, but it also has its ups. Even while you're still down, always get back up.
That's good. And you can't go anywhere but up when you're down. Really.
Right. It's just simple.
Yeah.
Simple.
I like it. I'm here for it. You talked about finding the things that make you happy and finding your peace through doing the things you enjoy. However, what kind of people do you hang around? You know what I'm saying? Like, do the people around you contribute to your happiness? Do you set boundaries and
definitely set boundaries? I don't go out as much anymore. Like, high school days is not in me anymore. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't go to parties. Like, I rarely go out now. Like, if people see me outside, they be like, they just laugh because they like, Desmond's outside now, because like, I'm not outside no more, bro. I stay to myself, man. I do the things I do every day, and that's just that's just how I do it. Like, I just stay to myself a lot, man. There's no point. The people I hang around with is always the same people, the same, less than 10, less than 7, at least. I just kick it with them. We go do the same things, and that's it. Right back to it. Other than that, I'm by myself.
Right. I'm honestly the same way. My circle is actually even much smaller than that, because
very small.
Like, one thing that is important for me is safety when it comes to other people. If I do not feel safe with you, I flock out. I'll say it like that. Like, you don't get canceled, you know what I mean? Like, we might be cool, or I might keep you at arm's length or whatever like that. The only time I really cut people out is if they're like just dangerous, toxic. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd never.
Yeah, I can't hang around toxism. Can't do that.
I'm not a cut people off kind of person, but yeah, I appreciate what you're saying about keeping your circle small.
Very small, very tiny, very tiny, like a ring.
Exactly. And staying to yourself and keeping your peace, especially with everything going on in the world today.
I'm just trying to work on myself and be better as a man. You know, I'm trying to be better as a man in a relationship. I'm trying to be a better man as a son. I'm trying to be a better man in life. I'm trying to be a better man and at my priorities, like, it just in general. Like, I'm trying to do better with everything, you know. I know it's not good to say to have idols and only God is your idol that you're only supposed to have, because he is. But Nick Sherman was my idol, man. Like, he's a perfect image of the person I've always wanted to be, who I looked up to. You know, I will always just look at him and just laugh and smile, because it's just like, that man is just, that's me. Like, I remember we was at the gym and my boy was like, Desmond, that's going to be you in 30 years or like 20 something years. Because we look the same. A lot of people always be like, is that your father? Sometimes I would say yes, just to see how it felt. Yeah. You know? But yeah, that's it. So,
for those of you listening and you're like, who's Nick? I did mention Nick only by first name briefly in the first episode. But yeah, the first episode of this season. But Nick Sherman, he was the owner of Ignite Sports and Fitness. He was an amazing husband, father. He was a pastor, mentor, coach. He kind of was the king of titles, man. He really did. He really did.
He was a walking Jesus, for real.
Yeah, and
literally a walking Jesus.
Yeah, he was an excellent example of what a real man is supposed to be, not just by the worldly standard of manhood, but by a biblical standard of manhood as well. And so that's who Desmond is talking about when he mentions Nick Sherman. He was my cousin. He was our cousin, but I mean, like Desmond said, he was definitely more of a father to Desmond. And it was a huge loss for us back in December. Just to give you a little backstory for those who are listening. Did you ever talk to, I mean, I know Nick was there during certain episodes that you had with your anxiety. Did you talk deeply to Nick, if you don't mind sharing about that? Like, or did he give you any kind of support or like advice that you hold to today that helps you?
Actually, back in 2019, no, maybe 2018, around April, there was an incident that I had tried to cause to myself. And it happened a couple times. And I decided to just one day talk to the family and just tell them like what was going on. And it was me, Uncle Nick, Aunt Ty, my mom, and the girls. No, I'm sorry, the girls wasn't there because they couldn't be there. But it was just us. And I told them, I was just like, I got to tell you guys something very important that I kept to myself. And I told them that incident. And my mom did nothing but cry. You know what I'm saying? Because it's like, I'm her one. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm her baby. You know what I'm saying? So it's going to touch her the most. Everybody else cried for Uncle Nick. And he was just like breaking it down to me, giving me the real, telling me like, you got people you got to depend on, telling me that you can't give up. There's more work that you have to do.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, you got people to take care of again. Like, he was giving me the real.
Mm-hmm. He called you to your purpose. He reminded you of your purpose in life, basically.
Right.
Which was what Nick was excellent at doing for everybody. I remember the last thing that he ever said to me, like the last time I saw him, so I was talking about, you know, really building You're Not Finished to him and, you know, doing the merch and everything like that. And the main piece of advice he ever gave me was to be consistent.
Yeah, that was that too.
Yeah, he was definitely a hard worker. He was definitely disciplined. He was definitely consistent. And that's not something that just pertains to like your business and your purpose and everything like that. It pertains to anxiety and your mental health as well, because you have to consistently every day take care of your mind. Mm-hmm. You have to guard your mind because you could lose your mind. People could try to influence what you think about, you know what I'm saying? And so that consistency when it comes to mental health is important as well. And so, yeah, that's definitely good advice from Nick, for sure. How would you want our family to address mental health? Would you want us to change the way that we address mental health? Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get what you're saying. I'm gonna sound like a hypocrite when I say this, but it's something I do need to get better at doing. Is we do need to open up better. Mm-hmm. We need to talk about our problems more. We keep everything a secret too much. You know, we gotta talk about how we feel now. Like, we should have been doing that now, but we should have been doing that. But again, like, this was just a shocker on how you never know when it's your last. Mm-hmm. So we need to talk about how we feel about one another, about how we feel by ourselves, about how we feel mentally, how we feel physically, how we feel spiritually, and all that. So we can understand that we're a family, but we want to feel like a family, that we can always come to someone to talk to, not always keep it to ourselves. you know?
100%. I would absolutely agree with that, because I feel like I'm trying to think of a way to address this without offending somebody. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's just best to just kind of be straight about it.
In a respectful matter.
Of course, I'm not going to be ridiculous.
Oh, yeah, I know.
We already know what happens. But so I don't even know if I ever told you about this or if you remember because you were so young, but back in 2011, I why am I being like weird about this? I've said it so many times. I think it's just because you're sitting right here next to me and it feels weird. I don't know. I'm gonna cut this out. Don't worry.
No, it's all good.
But yeah, in 2011, I attempted to take my own life, and it caused me to be placed in a psychiatric hold. So I had stayed in a mental health hospital for about 2 weeks because it wasn't my first time attempting and stuff, and the nature of everything that went on and stuff like that. I won't go into detail because I don't want to, trigger anybody who's listening, and I don't want to, traumatize you with that. But I remember how it was addressed by the family. I remember, being visited by like Don and Tiff, you know what I'm saying? And my mom and Auntie Cheryl, of course. Like, I remember that. But then we never talked about it again. Like, after I got out of the hospital, it was just like, okay, like Brittany's back, cool, like let's go back to normal. When I still wasn't like healed yet.
I'm 100%.
At all. I mean, even being in that place was very traumatizing experience. I had to go to therapy for the therapy that they were giving me. You know what I'm saying? Like, but even ever since then, that's something that we never have addressed as a family, even though we've had like in your face instances of people that we love and care about struggling. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? And so I agree with you in that I want us to be more open, especially so it doesn't get to that point for either one of us ever again. Like, so where we're thinking about something or where we attempt something or whatever the case may be, especially as the girls are growing up.
Man, you feel me? It's about to get real. Like, Mackenzie's about to hit high school. So Morgan's about to be what?
Like third? How is he?
No, 11, Morgan's about to be 12. Up in the 6th grade, I think, 6th or 7th grade. So it's about to be real, man. And I do pray that the girls will be okay, because now like high school is when the real deal, you already know. So it's when decisions have to be made, either right or wrong, or you can, regardless, learn from them.
Right.
So I pray that they'll make the right decisions, and I pray that they'll be good by themselves. So, yeah.
It's tough. I mean, it's tougher for them because like the cultural climate is different, you know what I'm saying, than when we were younger. Plus they lost their father, you feel me? Like, we both grew up without our fathers. And so we struggled with that loss in a different way. But their father, and not to diminish anything that we've been through, their father was just tragically taken away from them randomly, out of the blue. And now they have to deal with that as children within a family that doesn't really open up about how we're feeling about stuff.
Yeah, and I still ask around, if how people are feeling, but I do it in a way of you're being too needy or being too, I don't even know the word for it, but I don't want to seem like I'm overwhelming them, so yeah.
Yeah, it's hard
It's very hard.
because it's like we're going against what has been the norm. I mean, death is not something that, we naturally experience. Or even if it did happen, like death is just terrible in general. You know what I'm saying? And so, yeah, I think intentionality about asking would help us a lot, about asking where we need to support each other and stuff.
Yeah, a lot of people do a lot of how are you doing instead of how are you feeling mentally.
Mm-hmm.
It's a lot of how do you feel instead of how are you physically, spiritually, A lot of people don't hug people no more. You know what I'm saying? It's always handshakes. Some people need that comfort, extra comfort, not just talking.
Right.
Talking doesn't always help, with people. Some people need to feel that they've been talked to, that they've been listened to, that they've been heard.
Yeah. That's good.
So.
Do you feel like you're a good listener?
I'm a very good listener. I've had my times that I goof around or, play around, but when it comes to talking about life and reality, yeah, I'm a good listener.
Yeah, I definitely feel like you are. You like a sponge, I feel like. And so am I too in certain ways where I just be like staying quiet just to assess the situation and see like where I'm supposed to.
Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy.
But I'm like that too, where like I'll just stay quiet and kind of assess the situation and feel if I'm even supposed to speak to it or if whatever I have to offer is even of value or will it be valued? Because I think a lot of times people be saying stuff either at the wrong time or.
Look, I've been literally, I've been telling people the same thing. It's like, I've always tell people, you always got to think before you say things. Like, because a lot of people say, no, you always just say how you feel. Just say what you think. No, because if you say how you feel and it come out wrong, you're really expressing how you feel, but you didn't mean it the way you felt, but you're saying it the way you felt and the way you thought about it. It's going to tell somebody hard. Real deal. And it's just like, you have to think about the stuff that you say before you say it, because you never know how somebody's going to feel about it. You never know how somebody's going to react to it. You got to think about somebody. You got to think about the other person before you think about yourself.
Absolutely.
Always put somebody before you.
100%.
I've always been in that mentality. So that's why I always believe in giving people extra. But always know your limit.
Yes. Very
always
true.
Know your limit.
100%. I could not agree with that more. And I wish, like, people, because when I was about to do when I was your age, but I'm just going to go ahead and do it. Like, but there weren't many men, especially, who had that self-awareness. You know what I'm saying? To be able to listen well or to be able to read the room. You know what I'm saying? So I really respect you for that.
Oh, of course. I grew up with women in my life, so it's like, applaud to y'all, because y'all made me like this. You know what I'm saying? This is just nothing. I'm just carrying on what y'all created. Like, this is nothing to me. Like, I'm not supposed to be feeling like, oh yeah, I'm popping and nah. This is what y'all created. Like I was raised from y'all in every aspect, every way. I literally grew up watching every single one of y'all, and I learned from every single one of y'all. So I don't just say things the way I say things. I don't ever just go out and just do extras or, whatever. Because I know. But, sometimes people get carried away with knowing too much and then you become a know-it-all. So I got to always be mindful of what I say now, because people going to get offended on like, oh, you think you know everything. I'm like, no, I just know what I know and what I've experienced.
Right.
Just because you haven't been through what I've experienced, that's why I'm telling you what I know, So.
Yeah. Some people too, like, it's not even just about, not offending or whatever, or not saying things at the wrong time. Sometimes people just don't be out of pride or whatever it is. They don't want to hear what you have to say, and they have to just experience life for themselves.
Or a lot of people do want to hear what you have to say, but they don't like the way you said it.
That is also
they
true.
just keep, even no matter how real you keep it real. Like no matter, I'm sorry, that didn't make any sense. No matter how real you keep it with them, like they gonna always say something because they didn't like the way you said it.
Yeah.
Some people hate the truth. Some people can't handle the truth.
Some people hate the truth. That is a fact.
Yeah. Hey, man, it's tough out here in these streets.
Yeah, it really is. It really is.
But,
You talked about the women in our family having an impact on you. However, and you talked about Nick. Could we talk a little bit about Uncle Donald and the role that he had and the impact that he had in you as a man?
Man, that dude. And then we're going to get to Uncle Donnie. Uncle Donnie's a part of that too. That is one person I will forever call dad on some real stuff. Like he taught me everything I needed to know growing up as a young man. Like he taught me how to take care of myself out in the wild. Like he taught me how to do things a lot of dudes in my generation should know how to do already. And older people too, or not older people, older kids a little bit older than me should be knowing how to do too. And it's like I look at them and I feel like I'm an OG to these dudes, because it's like, and I'm not even trying to be on no cocky stuff, but it's just like, like I can just see how, I was raised versus how people grew up.
Yeah.
No disrespect to how, you raise somebody, but this is what it is. Take it or leave it.
Yeah. That's true. I mean, I said that in my last episode, like, these are our personal experiences, you know what I mean? Nobody can get mad at you for that. If they do, then that's a reflection of something they going through, you know what I'm saying? But the truth, is something wrong with the thing?
No, I hit the mic by accident.
But yeah, it's the truth of your experience, and that's more than okay.
Yeah, man, he taught me how to always stay to yourself at times. You don't always have to spread things to other people. Sometimes if you know you can handle it by yourself, then handle it by yourself. Straight out. You don't always have to, it's always good to ask for help, but you always want to feel independent at the same time. You don't always want to feel like you need somebody to do something for you. There's a difference between asking for help all the time and just, always getting what you want like that. So a lot of times, you hear him say, you see him doing things, you be like, Dad, you need, no, I got it. Dad, no, I got it. Don't even worry about it. Because he'll get it done.
Yeah.
So I applaud to him too.
Donnie as well.
Hey man, him too, man. He taught me what it is, man. He taught me what it is out in the streets, for real. And he was always, again, a motivator. Mm-hmm. He's always been a tough motivator, just like Uncle Nick though. Mm-hmm. Hood way, Christian way, you know. But Uncle Nick had a little hood in him, but you know, there was always a little, you know, both in him. Mm-hmm. But you know, I appreciate all three of them for how they differently raised me as a man, young man to a man. So I, you know, now I know how to, you know, take care of my own children. Now I know how to take care of myself. Now I know how to, I'm still learning again with everything that I'm saying, but now I know. Mm-hmm. I know how to survive out here. Like, it's just, you just got to work hard.
Absolutely.
Just work hard.
And I appreciate you so much for giving Donnie and Uncle Donald their flowers while they're still here. And definitely while Nick was still here as well, like, you gave him his flowers. I feel like we as a family, you know, maybe could have done better as far as like showing like the true appreciation for the solid men that have been in our family, because it's not many, you know what I'm saying? Like, the ratio of women to men is like 36 to 4.
Literally,
you know what I'm saying? And so like we absolutely want to give the men in our family the flowers that they deserve while they are still here. We want to honor them and want to honor you, which is why, like, I didn't even hesitate to say, like, yes, come on the podcast, talk about your anxiety, talk about whatever it is you want to talk about, so we can break some of that generational and traditional way of handling stuff that we always have.
Yeah, a lot of people need to hear it. Mm-hmm. But a lot of people don't at the same time.
A lot of people don't, but whoever listens to this podcast will. Yeah. So, amen. I'm really appreciative of you, Desmond. Is there anything that you wanted to address? Anything that you wanted to say, talk about? Anybody you want to shout out?
Nah, I think we got everything covered that I believe that you wanted to talk about, and I wanted to talk about as well. For shout outs, shout out to my family. I don't have friends. I have family. You know, if you know, you know. Once again, if you know, you know. I love you all. Yeah, follow my page on Wisdom Creates Power. You know, that's it.
With that said, that is the end of the podcast. Thank you all so much for listening. Thank you to Desmond for coming on to the show. And I am just so excited for more stories to be shared here through You're Not Finished in order to decrease stigma of mental health. That being said, if you want to share your story or testimony and you would like that to be shared on the You're Not Finished website or here on the podcast, make sure you send an email over to Brittany@you'renotfinished.com or stories@you'renotfinished.com, or you can go over to the site and click the contact section. If you want your story to be written and to go on the website, anonymous submissions are always welcome. If you need additional help, support, or resources, please feel free to head over to you'renotfinished.com and click the Get Help section. Make sure you're following You're Not Finished on all social media at YNFcast. Stay up to date on updates, giveaways, blog posts, and future podcast episodes. And thank you again for listening. I love you all so much, and I hope you finish well. Have a great day. Bye-bye.